I want to talk about a pretty trendy bet. I watched Hit the Books with Brad Powers and Joey Knish on Monday, who henceforth will be known as Joey Mush. Thanks to Hitman's tweet this morning, which made me laugh. By the way, if you're not subscribed to Hit the Books, I highly recommend doing so. Part of the Hammer Betting Network. If you click the channels here on Forward Progress, Hit the Books is there. Subscribe. Powers, Knish, every Monday. It's a great show. I shouldn't say that. Hopefully we can delete this clip so Knish never sees it. But they talked about under 4.5 quarterbacks taken in the first round, which is in the range of minus 155 to minus 165 right now. And it was a bet that was brought up in the chat. It's a bet that people have been DMing me about, asking me my thoughts. So I do want to get your thoughts on this. We'll start with you, Hitman, on this one. Curious what your take is. Under 4.5 quarterbacks taken first round, minus 155, let's say, consensus price. Good bet or not?
So I'll say that I haven't bet either way on it yet, but I would probably lean against Knish on that. And I would guess, without hearing what his reasoning was, I would guess maybe it's a lot about, in the past, there's been a lot of quarterbacks in that like late first round range that people will start hyping up and they just never come close to reaching that draft position because everybody just talks about, oh, the 5th-year option, this quarterback will get pushed up, and it doesn't happen. Sam Howell was one of them. Drew Lock was one of them. Malik Willis was one of them. There's been and there's some guys I'm missing that it happens every year. So I would guess, without talking to him, that's what he was talking about with his logic. But I don't know. There's just something about the Hendon Hooker hype that has felt a little bit different than those guys. It's just, there's no on the field breakdown I could give you saying, oh, well, I like Hooker, and it would be irrelevant anyway, what my opinion is on him. But just from reading stuff and trying to read the tea leaves on draft and looking at some of the visits that Hooker's taking, a lot of teams in the late first round or teams that are in the early second round that theoretically could trade up to that 30, 31 spot to take Hooker. Teams like the Lions picking 19, picking early in the second, the Raiders picking early in the second, Tampa, the Vikings, the Titans are picking semi-early in the second. Maybe they could do a trade up, and we know they're interested in quarterbacks potentially. So I don't know. Just the hype around Hooker feels a little bit different, where I'm in wait and see mode on it. And I'll just put it like this. I wouldn't be surprised if he did go first. I think he's a better prospect than some of the guys that I mentioned earlier. He'll go higher than those guys I mentioned earlier. So at the moment, I maybe a gun to head lean over, but nothing I've bet. And I'm certainly not looking to lay juice on the under at this moment.
I mean, I cannot think of a worse situation to be in on draft night than sitting there April 27th. You're watching the draft. You're probably going to have 4 QBs go in like the first 7 picks. And you're going to have the most ultimate sweat of all time with each passing pick, every single trade up that happens. Like, there's good bets, and then there's like also good bets that are fun to root for. This to me is like the absolute disaster, worst rooting interest of all time if you take that bet. Not saying it's not a good one, but Suma, I want your thoughts as well, because it really, I mean, part of the argument that they made, Brad Powers doesn't like Will Levis, period. Neither does Knish. They think he's not going to be a good pro quarterback. I tend to agree. However, I just don't see him like possibly dropping to the point where he's going to drop out of the first round. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. So it comes down to Hooker. And I think that when there's smoke, there's fire. And there's been so much buzz recently. I would just be really scared of this one, Suma.
Yeah, so the guys who have mocked Hendon Hooker into the first round are Todd McShay, Daniel Jeremiah, and Bruce Feldman. 3 guys who tend to have some decent sources into the NFL, which I think we should in some way respect. With some recent mocks plugging in Hooker in the first round, I'm currently at 4.3 mean quarterbacks taken in the first round, so I don't see any value in taking the under at minus 160 or minus 155 right now. there was some really, really interesting buzz about Hendon Hooker, like how smart that guy is, and it makes sense to grab the 5th-year option because he's going to rehab his knee over the first 3 or 4 months anyway. So a team like, let's say, Minnesota, Titans, who have like starting quarterbacks who are not supposed to be there for much longer, Ryan Tannehill, Kirk Cousins, teams like these make a lot of sense to me.
I love what we get in the chat here. Not back-to-back messages. Hooker not going in round 1. Hooker is going first round for sure. I love the divide. We've also created a divide here between Forward Progress and Hit the Books. I'm kind of with you guys. I do think Hooker is going to go first round somehow. I could see a team trading up for him potentially when there's like this despair. That's the thing too. When you have like this, I guess, 5th ranked quarterback, there's going to be a lot of interest and a lot of teams just trying to jump ahead of others. I don't know. I'm with you guys. I don't think it's a great bet at this moment. Agree to disagree with the Hit the Books crew.